for legislative work. On the agenda, a bill dealing with offshore oil drilling permits, which members began working on last week, and a bill dealing with Haiti relief efforts. And now live coverage of the U.S. House here on C-SPAN.
The prayer will be offered by the guest chaplain, Reverend Jane Wood, Jerusalem Mount Pleasant United Methodist Church in Rockville, Maryland.
O Lord our God, God of our past, present, and future, we look to you today as we begin this session of the United States House of Representatives. We thank you this afternoon for those who are assembled here. They have been given a great privilege and an awesome responsibility. Bestow upon them the wisdom, discernment, and knowledge they need. Be very near to each of them, and may this day be a day of accomplishment. By your grace, enable these representatives to continue on the path to a more perfect union. Amen.
The Chair has examined the Journal of the Last Day's proceedings and announces to the House his approval thereof. Pursuant to Clause 1 of Rule 1, the Journal stands as approved. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Poe.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Under Clause 5D of Rule 10 of Rule 20, the Chair announces to the House that in light of the resignation of the gentleman from Nevada, Mr. Heller, the whole number of the House is 432. The Chair lays before the House a communication.
The Honorable the Speaker, House of Representatives. Sir, pursuant to the permission granted in Clause 2H of Rule 2 of the Rules of the U.S. House of Representatives, the Clerk received the following message from the Secretary of the Senate on May 9, 2011 at 10:05 a.m. that the Senate has added additional conferee to H.R. 658, Appointments, United States Capitol Preservation Commission. With best wishes, I am, signed sincerely, Karen L. Haas, Clerk of the House.
The Chair will entertain requests for 1-minute speeches. For what purpose does the gentleman from Louisiana seek resignation?
Speaker, I ask that you address the House for 1 minute and revise and extend my remarks.
Thank you. Without objection. The gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I have said many times on this floor and in meetings with constituents, this country does not have an energy strategy. And the only thing worse than not having an energy strategy is having bad energy policy. Yet the answer lies right here in our own backyard. We have the resources, but this administration continues to block access. Today we're voting on H.R. 1229, the Putting the Gulf Back to Work Act. It is crucial to restoring our own capabilities to produce energy by moving forward with permit applications in a sensible amount of time. It's deplorable that businesses like Lead Petroleum in Lafayette, Louisiana, with 22 employees, cannot get back to work and have no options unless we hold these regulators' feet to the fire and force them to do their job. These independent producers and service companies, the backbone of American energy production, deserve answers and real solutions. With oil and gas prices skyrocketing, there is no excuse for any delays to offshore energy production. The people of this country are tired of uncertainty. They are tired of dependence on foreign oil, and they're tired of record gas prices. The bottom line is we must begin the path to a solid energy policy to get Americans back to work. There's no excuse for delay. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Florida seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to honor and to celebrate the State of Israel on her 63rd birthday. 63 years ago, Israel was founded against all odds, through enormous courage and after difficult struggle. Now, she's the beacon of freedom and hope throughout the region. As the only true democratic society in the Middle East, Israel has built a technologically advanced and thriving economy. Israel is a world leader in biotechnology research and is home to some of the world's great entrepreneurial success stories. Her people enjoy freedom of expression in all forms, and she boasts one of the strongest records on human rights. The United States, as the first country to recognize Israel's independence, forged an unbreakable bond with Israel through our shared values and goals, and the partnership and cooperation between our two countries has never been stronger. The United States is committed to ensuring Israel's ability to defend herself and will continue to provide the most advanced assistance in security and the most robust economic aid. In 63 years, Israel has persevered against all odds, against foreign armies, terrorism, and those who deny her right to exist. Today, we reaffirm the bond between the United States and Israel, that it will not be broken, and today the United States stands firmly with our great ally Israel in true friendship and celebration. I yield back.
Gentlemen yield back. For what purpose does the gentleman from Texas seek recognition?
Request permission to address the House for 1 minute.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, after years of funneling money to Pakistan, we still don't know whose side they are on in this war on terror. We have given Pakistan $12 billion in foreign aid since 2002. We have reimbursed them $9 billion for their military operations in the war on terror. It's time we freeze the foreign aid to Pakistan until we get some answers about their knowledge of bin Laden's whereabouts. We cannot continue to give Pakistan money in the hopes they will be our friend and ally. We did not trust them enough to give them advance notice of the bin Laden operation. We even had detailed plans to fight the Pakistanis if they interfered with the capture of bin Laden. Bin Laden was able to live in a mansion right under the nose of the Pakistan Military Academy for years. But government officials say they didn't know where bin Laden was. That statement defies the evidence, and that dog just won't hunt. And that's just the way it is. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. For what purpose does the gentleman from South Carolina seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, the National Labor Relations Board has filed a complaint against the Boeing Corporation to stop thousands of jobs at the currently built 1.2 million square foot production facility in South Carolina. This is the second line for 787 jetliners, which are so popular due to 20% less fuel use than any other airplane of its size. Manufactured employees locate in South Carolina due to the welcoming climate provided by the right to work laws, which train workers educated at world-class technical colleges. Boeing has the right to contract to work where it's in the best interest of its shareholders and workers. I appreciate Governor Nikki Haley leading the defense of our workers against the Obama administration's attack. I am grateful Attorney General Alan Wilson is recruiting fellow Attorney Generals across America to protect jobs. South Carolina is fortunate to have America's youngest governor and America's youngest Attorney General energetically standing up for freedom of American workers. Welcome to Washington, Adjutant General Bob Livingston, former 218th Commander in Afghanistan, with Legislative Liaison Matt Nichols. In conclusion, God bless our troops, and we will never forget September 11th and the global war on terrorism.
Gentleman's time's expired. For what purpose does the gentleman from Pennsylvania seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, we only need to look at Massachusetts to see a preview of what is in store if we fail to repeal Obamacare. Just a few years ago, it was predicted that the Massachusetts health reform would reduce emergency room care by getting patients in to see primary care physicians. But a new survey shows that only half of primary care physicians are able to accept new patients right now. It now takes 48 days to see an internist for a routine checkup. Premiums in Massachusetts remain among the highest in the nation. Low reimbursements in the Commonwealth Care Health Plan mean that only about half of doctors accept the state-managed insurance. Far from solving Massachusetts' health care crisis, the health reform law has created problems of its own. The Massachusetts Medical Society finds that the environment for physicians continues to deteriorate despite billions in government spending. Just a sample of what awaits the nation under Obamacare. I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. For what purpose does the gentleman from Texas seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I ask permission to rise, address the House for 1 minute, revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Patient Protection Affordable Care Act, billed as a health care bill, was actually
a tax bill. It's riddled with fees and penalties that will drive up the cost of health care by imposing taxes on families and businesses. Included in the law was a tax increase on non-medical expenditures from a health savings account. There's always been a 10% penalty, but now it jumps to 20%. In addition, beginning next year, employers that have 50 full-time employees for the previous calendar year must offer health coverage that meets the minimal essential benefit coverage requirement of the Secretary of Health and Human Services, and that coverage requirement is likely to cost $52 billion over the next 10 years. Hardly the way to foster job creation in an economy that desperately needs jobs. The individual mandate starts out as a tax, then it's a penalty, now it's back to a tax again. The administration creatively changed its position when it realized that the mandate was indeed a tax, even though it violated the President's own pledge during the campaign not to raise taxes on middle-class Americans to pass his signature health care legislation. The taxes in the health care law will affect everyone, and inevitably it cannot help but drive up the cost of health care in this country. I yield back.
Gentleman's time's expired. For what purpose does the gentleman from Maryland seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, with Americans feeling pain at the gas pump, I'm so glad that the House remains focused on lowering the cost of energy and creating an environment for positive job growth. American energy production has been handcuffed by a moratorium that the President has placed on new oil, natural gas, and coal production right here in the United States. Mr. Speaker, there's simply no reason that a country with the largest fossil fuel reserves in the world should be suffering yet through another energy crisis, a crisis that has already cost America thousands of jobs, forced manufacturers to relocate overseas, and made a gallon of gas unaffordable. The folks that get hurt the most are our seniors on fixed incomes, small businesses, and the poor. This administration apparently thinks the best way to help these folks is to raise their energy taxes and then lend Brazil billions of dollars to drill for oil, while our workers and our factories stand idle. What we need is a dose of common sense when it comes to our domestic energy policy. We have to use our own oil, natural gas, and coal to create jobs and stop the pain at the pump. I yield back.
Gentleman's time has expired. For what purpose does the gentleman from Indiana seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today with concern over oil prices and the effect these high prices have on the American consumer. In my district in northeast Indiana, fuel prices are around $4.10 a gallon. Just this morning, Wayne TV reported gas prices in northeast Indiana will be at $4.29 by the end of today. At $4.29 a gallon, many of my constituents will not get out of the gas station for under $80. The 3rd Congressional District of Indiana is rural and geographically expansive, causing many constituents to fill up their gas tanks 2 to 3 times a week simply from commuting to and from work. For many, this cost makes their total monthly expenditure for gas at or above their rent or mortgage payment. When President Obama took office, we saw gas prices at a national average of $1.84. Now we are told gas prices could be as high as $5 by Memorial Day. We cannot continue the status quo and expect Hoosiers to pay at the pump. That is why, Mr. Speaker, I support H.R. 1229, the Putting the Gulf of Mexico Back to Work Act, and H.R. 1231, reversing the President's Offshore Moratorium Act, sponsored by Mr. Hastings from Washington. These bills, along with H.R. 1230, the Restarting American Offshore Leasing Now Act, that the House passed last week, will help us move away from our dependence on foreign oil by opening restrictions placed on the Outer Continental Shelf, allowing us to tap into our domestic resources. Doing this will provide jobs to more Americans and lower our gas prices. I yield back.
Gentleman's time has expired. Pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1, the House will now stand in recess subject to the call of the Chair.
The House is now in recess, subject to the call of the Chair. When they return, they'll work on a bill dealing with offshore oil drilling permits, which permits members